What if Michigan goes 8-4? Betting market says that they're at 8.5. So if they were to go under, the highest that they could be is 8-4. And around this time of the year, we are in the last month of no football. August comes around, we have football back. So let's get a little critical about these top 10 teams that are going into the preseason, because every single year, 1 to 2 or more end up falling off the face of the earth. Now, I'm not saying they're going to pull a Texas A&M and lose to Appalachian State and go 5-7, but for Michigan terms, would falling off the face of the earth be a bottom top 25 team? And should the expectations be shifted? Because let's be real here, they are replacing so much with this team. But there's a double-edged sword here. It's not like Michigan is a lower level or a lower brand program that shouldn't be able to replace all this talent, but it is a tall task to lose your top coaches, a ton of players to the NFL, and you haven't been recruiting at like the top echelon, the like number one class in the nation to like top 5 year over year, because you have been able to retain that NFL talent. You cashed in all your chips and you won a national title. But now we're on to the next year. And so what should the expectation be? They still have a ton of NFL talent. Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Donovan Edwards, Colston Loveland, and it could be a couple more guys. And in that world, I could see if that offense, bounces back from losing all those key pieces, because I think Alex Orji could be a good quarterback. I like Donovan Edwards a ton. Colston Loveland is an NFL tight end, but their offense wasn't their specialty to begin with, and they had all those NFL players. So what is Sherrone Moore going to adjust this team to having that be more of a strength and not a complementary piece to a defense? Because even when you lose Jesse Minter and all those players to the NFL on the defensive side of the ball, it's still going to be a strength, guys. It's still going to be Michigan. That's why their floor is still going to be really, really high. And the thing is as crazy as it may seem that they could potentially go 8-4, 9-3, I think if they were able to win one of the big games against Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, if you didn't know, they play Texas in week 2, guys. At home, by the way, in the big house. So that, that might give them an opportunity. I see a world where, Texas did lose a lot of interior defensive linemen. If they're able to run the ball and control the clock, they can for sure win that game. But I don't even know if they're going to be favored in that. I don't think they're going to be favored in Oregon or Ohio State. So that's 3 games that they potentially could lose. And as you look over the course of the Harbaugh era, I don't want to do a 1-for-1 comparison, but every single year, it always felt like there was one game where, maybe it was a little bit too close for comfort. They really like to play control the football type of games and play great defense and, not turn over the ball. And whenever they did turn over the ball, it got really dicey towards the end. I remember, it happens to every single top 5 team where you have one of those games that gets a little dicey. Can they win every single one of those with the new Sherrone Moore era? I don't know if they can. I'm just trying to have realistic expectations for Michigan. And maybe, I'm burying the lead before I go into that Big Ten tier list, and they're a little bit lower than people expect. Maybe we look in a year's time, maybe Washington and Michigan are 2 teams that, maybe didn't meet expectations this year, and they were just winning national title playing against each other. But if I'm going to be consistent, I have to be critical of Michigan the same way I've been critical of LSU or Colorado, where I have this laundry list of questions. And for them to hit their win total or to surpass expectations or even meet them, they have to say yes to damn near every single question. And it ranges past the roster. I don't know what Sherrone Moore is as a head coach. Do I believe in him? Do I think what he showed when he was able to keep the engine running when Jim Harbaugh left for a period of time last year due to the sign stealing? Yeah, that gives me some confidence, but that's not anything I believe of real substance to be like, that is a good head coach. We know for a fact he is a college football head coach. We don't know that. So that is another question mark. We don't know if he's going to work out. He had to replace a ton in the coaching room and on this roster. Is it crazy to say that they go 8-4? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm a little bit lower on Michigan. Doesn't mean they're going to be a bad team. It's going to be a tough game for Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon, and everyone who has to play Michigan this year. But it's not like you're running into the number 1 overall team that had that historic season last year, because they're not the same team anywhere close to that. It's the same thing that happened with TCU, but this is where it gets very difficult because they're not the brand that TCU is. They're much higher than that. They are a blue blood program. So if you want to have the confidence that they're going to be able to bounce back because they have way more resources than teams like TCU and Washington, two teams I'm expecting, well, we saw with TCU kind of fell down, and I'm expecting Washington to take a major step back. Michigan at least has the resources and branding, but they haven't had the farm system that has been continuous top 5 class after top 5 class. And maybe this is the year that kind of bites them in the ass. If you're new here, welcome to Rush the Field. Thank you guys so much for taking the opportunity to talk football with me. That's all I'll ever ask of you is, if you are a new or returning viewer, just give me another chance to talk football, whether that's a like, a comment, subscribe. Watching another video, I appreciate every single one of you guys. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean the absolute world to me. There's no better way to put it. So thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.